My name is Rachel. I'm 28 years old now, but I still remember the girl I was at 18. Young and naive. Hungry for love. And that's when I met Liam. He was charming. The kind of guy everyone noticed when he walked into a room. Tall, confident, a little wild, but in a way that made him exciting. I wasn't the only one who liked him, but somehow he chose me. First it felt like a dream. He'd pick me up on his motorcycle and we'd ride through town with music blasting. He said things like, "You're not like other girls, and I feel safe with you." I believed every word. He made me feel special. Like I was the only one in the world who really saw him. I didn't care about the way he looked at other girls. I didn't question why he sometimes disappeared for hours. I told myself he was different with me. He called me his calm. Said I grounded him. I wore those words like a badge of honor. Like I could save him just by loving him hard enough. If you're learning English through real emotional stories, subscribe to English Storytime. Improve your listening skills while feeling every word. Looking back now, I wasn't in love. I was in survival. Trying to hold on to someone who was never really mine. But I couldn't see that back then. Back then I thought he was everything. Didn't happen all at once. Liam didn't leave me on a stormy night with a suitcase in hand and a cruel goodbye. No. He left slowly, quietly, without ever saying the words. It started with the messages. Shorter, colder, less often. He used to call me every night. Tell me about his day. Ask about mine. Now he barely responded. Busy, he'd say. Tired, he'd write. And I'd reply with hearts, trying not to sound scared. He stopped making plans. I'd ask if we could see each other and he'd say, maybe. Maybe turned into, I'll let you know. And that became silence. I blamed myself. Maybe I was too emotional. Maybe I asked too many questions. Maybe I wasn't enough anymore. I started wearing makeup I knew he liked. I sent him long texts filled with love, trying to remind him of what we had. I checked my phone every 5 minutes hoping he'd say, I miss you. But he didn't. I began to feel like a stranger in my own relationship. Like I was holding on to something that was already gone, but no one had the courage to say it out loud. The worst part wasn't the silence. It was the way he made me feel like I didn't have the right to ask what was wrong. And so I waited for a message, visit, a sign that he still cared. But all I got was the sound of my own heart breaking in the dark. One Friday night I waited for him again. I made dinner. Put on the dress he once said made my eyes look brighter. I even played the song we used to sing in the car, hoping it would bring back a memory for him if he showed up. But he didn't. No message. No excuse. Just silence. I waited until the food went cold. Then I sat on the kitchen floor and cried. Quietly, because crying out loud would make it too real. I didn't want the walls to hear how broken I was. The next morning I tried to convince myself he would come. Maybe something had happened. Maybe his phone died. Maybe. But the truth was already there. He wasn't coming back. And he wasn't going to say goodbye. I opened our last conversation and stared at it. No arguments. No closure. Just a slow fading of attention, until I became invisible to him. I sent one last message. It said, "I don't know what happened, but I deserve more than silence." He never replied. That was the moment I knew. He didn't love me enough to stay, or even to leave properly. He just let me disappear from his life the same way he disappeared from mine. There's a certain kind of pain that only silence can cause, because it leaves space for your mind to imagine everything, every reason, every lie, every version of the truth that might explain why you weren't enough. But silence doesn't explain, just lingers. And that night, I went to sleep with one sentence playing over and over in my head. He left, and I stayed alone. I stopped checking my phone first thing in the morning. First, it felt wrong, like forgetting something important. But with time, the silence became familiar, predictable. I deleted our photos. Not all at once. One by one. Slowly. Each image felt like letting go of a version of myself that only existed when he was looking. I started walking every evening. Just around the block. No headphones. No calls. Just me. And the air. And the quiet rhythm of my own footsteps. First, I didn't feel strong. Felt numb. Like someone who had forgotten how to live without being watched. But each step reminded me I was still here. Still breathing. Still capable of movement, even when my heart felt heavy. Began journaling. Just a few words a day. Some entries were just, "I'm still sad." Others were angry. Honest. But eventually I wrote things like, "I miss who I was before him." And then, "I want her back." I started saying yes to things again. Dinner with friends. Reading in cafes. Laughing at jokes I didn't expect to find funny. I wasn't healed. Not yet. But I was moving. And sometimes that's all you can ask of yourself. People talk about heartbreak like it happens all at once. But for me, it happened in pieces. And healing came the same way. One night, I looked in the mirror and didn't see someone waiting. I saw someone living. And that's when I knew. I was coming back to myself. It was a rainy afternoon when I realized I no longer felt hollow. I was sitting by the window, a book in my lap, tea in hand. The rain tapped gently against the glass. No music. No phone. Just me. And I was okay. I didn't miss him. Not really. I missed the idea of him. The version I had created in my mind. The one who never left. The one who stayed. But that version never existed. And somehow, knowing that didn't make me bitter. Made me free. I started noticing beauty again. The way the sky changes color before sunset. The sound of children laughing on the street. The warmth of a blanket after a long day. Tiny things I had forgotten while chasing a love that never loved me back properly. I visited my parents more. Laughed with my sister. Talked to my old friends without shame or explanation. They never said, "I told you so." They just said, "We're glad you're back." And slowly I started saying the same thing to myself. One night, I passed by the street where Liam used to wait for me. I didn't look away. I didn't cry. I didn't feel a rush of memories or regret. I just walked, steady, present, because the girl who used to wait on that corner, full of hope and uncertainty, had grown. She wasn't waiting anymore. She had built something better than closure. She had built peace. Some stories don't end with a grand gesture. No one comes running back in the rain. There's no handwritten letter, no dramatic apology, just silence. And then something softer: acceptance. Liam never reached out again. No, I miss you. No, I made a mistake. Nothing. And for a while, that silence hurt more than any harsh word could. Because when someone disappears without goodbye, they leave you holding every question alone. But now I don't need the answers. Not anymore. 'Cause life kept moving. And I chose to move with it. I went back to school. Started studying something just for me, creative writing. I wanted to understand my voice again. To shape my own words instead of living in someone else's story. I moved into a small apartment filled with sunlight and quiet. I bought flowers every week. Not because someone brought them to me, but because I wanted beauty in my own space. I took myself out to dinner. I laughed at movies alone. I celebrated my birthday with friends who had never left. And one day, I looked in the mirror and realized something. I liked the woman looking back. Not because she was perfect, but because she had survived something that tried to break her. And came back stronger, clearer, whole. People ask me if I'm ready to love again. And I tell them I already do. Because I don't wait at windows anymore. I don't check my phone hoping someone sees my worth. I don't try to become small to make someone stay. Now I wake up and choose myself. In the quiet. In the mess. In the joy. I am not someone's half. I am not someone's backup. I am not someone's story to pause or continue. I am my own home. And for the first time in my life, I don't feel alone. Feel full. New emotional English stories uploaded every day. Subscribe to English Storytime and learn English naturally through real emotions and real life.